Are you not entertained? Could you not go multiple more hours of hearing about my kid?
Okay, should we start? Great. Max is like, we've been rolling, girl.
I was like, I always thought we were.
Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome to Irregardless. I'm your host, Gabriela Ulloa, and today we are joined by the amazing Marie Garcia, actor, writer, producer extraordinaire, mother. Welcome to the show, girl. Thank you for being here.
No, thank you for having me. This is awesome.
So you and I talked on the phone
Yep.
a couple days ago to do a little intro. That wasn't the first time that we met, and you're not going to know this because why would you? And it actually wasn't a formal meeting.
Oh my God, I'm so nervous.
A couple of weeks ago, I was at a screening for an incredible Cuban film for Los Frikis. Yes. And I had never been to a screening, and I was so nervous. I brought my friend with me. You're just nervous to be in these spaces sometimes because you don't know. It's intimidating. We were at the after party. We were sitting in the middle of the room, and you came in. And normally, you would just think like, oh yeah, we don't know each other. She's just going to keep going. You dead ass made eye contact with me, and we're like, hi, nice to see you. And I looked at my friend, and we both were like, oh my, like, this girl's so nice.
Was I just so random? I just like went right up to you.
Well,
I was
I
like,
think
hi,
you were-
nice to see you.
Nice to see you. No, I think you were trying to get around us, and instead of just being like, move, bitch, no. But there's so many ways that you could just,
Oh my God,
you know, you
how
just
do I
smile.
not remember this interaction? I feel
Well,
like
because
you're
why
so
would you?
striking. I would have been, maybe it was like, I have to know you.
No. I think you were just unbelievably polite and a kind person.
Stop
Because you
it.
could have just gone, it's not like you had to be a monster about it, but
Right,
you
right,
could have
right.
just like smiled and kept it pushing.
Yeah.
I was just really grateful for your presence in that moment. It made me feel like really comfortable.
Oh my God. Well, first of all, that warms my heart like so much. Thank you for sharing that with me. You know, I totally understand how you feel. I still feel like that. Like I've been here since 2006 in LA and in this industry professionally since like 2010. And I feel like in some rooms, like, oh, I've done well for myself. Like, you know, I constantly, like, I've been working and that's a miracle. And then you're in rooms where you feel this big and you feel like you're not supposed to be there. And it really changes, you know, your entire mood and how you feel about yourself depending on how people treat you. And I never in my life want someone to feel like that after meeting me because I'm from Orlando, right? So like I'm used to all the boy bands, like all like there are people all over the place.
Yeah.
And I had a bad interaction with someone from a boy band. I won't call them out, but yeah, it was
You
a big
know
one.
who
It was
you
a big one.
are.
And I will never forget it. And I
Yeah.
was like 12 years old. To think that I'm in a position now that so many kids come up to me and so many people are like wanting to meet me and feel like they know me, like that's such a blessing. And I hold that to heart so much. So if I can make somebody feel good about themselves or an interaction, like that makes me so happy. Because when it's the other way around, oh my God, I would rather die.
But it's a really good example for your daughter too, because she's gonna grow up watching, and I'm sure your husband's similar. So
Yeah.
she's gonna grow up watching you too, and then she's gonna be like that, and it just trickles down over and over again. But you can
She's
tell, like,
she's such a lover. Oh my, actually, like we had to have a meeting with her teachers because they were like, she's hugging and kissing everyone. She's kind of a super spreader. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like we always tell her, she'll go, can I hug them? Can I hug them? And I'm like, well, you have to ask them. And she's like, can I hug you? And some of them are like, no. And she's like, well, they said no. And I'm like, but that's okay.
and so many Latino kids, like, we're really raised like that. Like, give everybody a hug, give everybody a kiss on the
Oh,
cheek.
I
you
never
know?
make her. No.
Which, okay, I love that you say this.
Our rule in our house is like, you have to say hello to everybody.
Yes.
But that's it. Like, look people in the eyes, say hello, how are you? But as far as like any kind of physical touch, that's on you, you know? And kids are so perceptive.
Yeah.
And their energy is so pure that if they don't want to touch somebody, they really shouldn't have to push that. But now having a girl is terrifying. I think having any child, honestly.
Yeah.
But every day I'm trying to learn as much as I can to try and break those cycles. Like recently, oh my God, like this was one of those moments where you're like, okay, Jessica, this is a choice as a mom that you have to make right now. Are you going to continue to do this or are you going to break this cycle? And it's as little as I was putting a tiara on her. And she was like, oh, I don't want to wear it. And I was like, oh, okay, Selena. And she was like, I'll wear it. I'll wear it. And I was like, no. I don't want you to wear it because mommy wants you to wear it or mommy gets sad if you don't wear it. Like it was something I had to like be super aware of. Like, I don't want her to do things to just please me. You know, because that's a cycle, you know? It's like, you have to think about that shit all the time.
I mean, you can tell you're such a good mom.
Oh, I'm trying. it's a never-ending guilt trip on yourself. Like, I'm guilty that I'm here right now. Like, oh, because she's like, "Mommy, don't leave. Can I go to work with you?" Like, and you're like, this you
Yeah.
would not be. You'd be running around, going crazy right now.
I mean, let me tell you, as someone who grew up with a mom who was a working mom and worked her ass off and still works her ass off and kills it, it's been such a blessing now as like an adult to like I have so much admiration for her and for what she did for me. And now being in the position that I'm in because of her, and you have such a fucking cool job. Like your daughter's gonna grow up, and I'm sure she already thinks it, but she's gonna grow up being like, my mom is so dope, and also have that drive in her because she
Yeah,
watched you
yeah.
be your own, be your own woman.
I feel like I'm walking so she can run because she's already such a performer. And I'm like, girl, could you want to do anything else? Could you please? But she's already so good at it. She's funnier than me. Her timing is ridiculous. Like, she's so smart and like articulate for like not even three. Like, she's
Wow,
wild. So I'm just like so nervous. I'm like,
watch
we're gonna
out.
wait. We're gonna.
She's got the name already. She's got the name already.
I
Selena, she's in
know.
there.
That's
Oh,
terrifying.
that's amazing. I want to talk to you a lot about. Well, we're gonna get back into motherhood a little bit later, but
Sure.
I feel like you have a really cool group of people around you in the sense where I've heard some of your interviews and you talk about, listen, I'm paraphrasing here. If
I
something,
need a direct quote.
yeah, I'm like,
Okay. Do not.
right,
And
exactly.
cite
I'm
your
so
source.
sorry. I'm so
Okay.
sorry. But you say, you can't take away from me what's for me. And if it wasn't for me, I hope it's for you. And I think that that is so important, especially when we're talking about being around our fellow Latinas in
Yeah.
this industry, because that's not the way that the system is set up.
Yeah.
And I often think, it's set up in a way where there's going to be one role and you're all going to fight for it.
Yep.
And then that way, you're all going to be in this unhealthy competition, counterproductive competition, because there's some healthy competition, counterproductive competition where you're going to lose the plot. You're going to forget that the problem over here is that
Yeah.
there's only one role. Because now you guys are just all fighting with each other.
Yeah.
And it keeps the system working the way that it is. And it seems like y'all really walk that line in a cool way.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing because you're still human, right?
Mhm.
And because the jobs are so few and far between, that you are like inside going, God, I hope it's me because like, the bills need to get paid and like, this is your dream that you don't want to see be taken from you. But the community that we've built over the last, I want to say like 10 years, like I would say 6 years really, really strongly, that we know each other so well. We know each other's families. We know like it is like rooting for your sister now, And is there like a little like, oh, I wish it was me, but like, girl, I'm so happy that it's you. Yeah, of course. And I'm just so thankful for it because before, like the first half of my career when I started, there was none of that. And as somebody that there aren't a lot of breakdowns with me on them, it was very isolating and it felt very lonely. You would see the same people at auditions, but you wouldn't like talk to them. It was more of that
Yeah.
like, oh God, she's here. Damn it, she's gonna get it. Or oh, she's not here. Hopefully she's already working. But
Mm.
now we've bridged that gap with all of these events. We humanize so many people and we realize we're in this together. And that's why there's projects coming up with many more Latinos than just the one.
I mean, it really seems like you guys are the definition of you're building your own
Yeah,
table.
I mean, now we have like Francia, she'll hit me up and she'll be like, "Hey, did you go out for this?" She's like, "You should go out for this."
Amo.
Like that
Yeah.
doesn't happen anymore. Or I'll say like, "Oh no, this is Chelsea." Like you guys need you need Chelsea. That kind of partnership and friendship changes everything because we don't win. Nobody wins if we have that, because that's what it was before. And there was no sense of community. And you can see how much stronger we are together. Even the stories that are being made, it's like you're Mexican or Cuban. Those are the two Latino, and I'm both of them. So, like, it's
Girl.
true. It's true.
Yeah.
But there is so many other colors to us.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of our community that is tired of seeing the same thing. And then they see, like, a Dominican story being told, but there's no Dominicans in it and they're asked to watch that and feel represented, and that's not fair, and I think that goes along in so many projects. So it is in some ways hard to root for those projects when you feel kind of slapped in the face by some of them. So that's where it kind of, for me, I feel like we need more of that community. We need more of us talking to each other and building each other up and being like, maybe I can't be the one to tell this story, but you can, but I have the backing or I know the people. You know, it's helping each other in that way. But the hell do I know? I've never made a movie.
You will. You will.
Hopefully, that's the
You
goal.
will.
That's
You
the goal.
will.
But that is something that really matters to me because I write as well. So I try and write what I know, and I don't have a Latino story that everybody has. Like, and I want to showcase that, you know, I grew up not seeing any of us represented, but like not even having the, you know, that cookie cutter story in my house. Like I didn't have an abuelita that was making tortillas for me or like
Yeah.
teaching me any of that. Like I didn't have that. That's what excites me about the future and of where I think our industry is going with our community is that more people are getting the mic and hopefully we're able to be given the grace to make mistakes in order to make, you know, the ones that are going to resonate with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not given that, you
Mm-mm.
know.
Mm-mm.
We're given this one opportunity to be an umbrella for everybody and be like Latinos, don't you like this? Isn't this your favorite thing? And you're like, no, that doesn't represent me. I think we have to stop trying to represent everybody.
I want to take it back for a second
Okay.
to pre-Hollywood Jess, because you used to write yourself into scripts
Yeah.
to create your own
You did
characters.
your homework.
Girl, she is a
Oh my
journalist.
God. You are.
Thank you so much. I try real hard. But I was so struck when I listened to you talk about that. Was there a show or a movie that triggered that idea?
Yes.
Let's hear
There
it.
were two movies specifically, and they were A Knight's Tale and Lord of the Rings.
It's giving range. It's giving range. I
I'm a little
love
bit of a
that.
nerd, yeah. So, Lord of the Rings, I became obsessed with, and I mean
Okay.
like obsessed to no end. And I made myself like a woodland elf and wrote that into. I printed out the entire script. It was like a bajillion pages. My mom was gonna kill me for how much ink we
Oh my God.
used and paper we used. But yeah, oh yeah.
I'm sure that now, by the way, it's also probably really cool for you to be able to receive those same messages of gratitude for the characters that you've portrayed, because you were writing yourself into scripts to see yourself represented, and now you're doing that for countless people.
I feel like I should blow up her spot just because it was one of like the best moments that I've had in my
Please do.
career and just life in general. But are you familiar with the actress Kayla Monteroso?
She's
I'm
hilarious,
telling you,
bro.
she is
She's
everything.
funny.
And when she got Free Ridge, they brought them on for the last episode to
Yeah.
pop up, like to do the our little transition. And she could not say hello to me. She was like crying. She was like, could not, did, and she was like, I'm here because of you. And like, you told me that I could do this. And I was just like, oh, wait, this is that part of my career? Like, wait,
Oh.
this is happening now? And it just blew me away. It's one of those moments where so much of my life is, oh my God, what's the next gig and what's the next thing? And
Mm.
like, you know, am I supposed to be doing this? And then to have moments like that where you're just like, oh my God, your art moves people in ways that you might never understand. Because once you make it, it's not yours anymore. Like it's out and it's for anybody to, you know, take from. And to know that there are people that are moved in that kind of positive way about a character that I've played is just, there's no better than that.
Mm.
She's over it now. I text her. I'm like, how you
She's
doing?
like, "Who's this?
I'm like,
Whose
yeah,
number
yeah.
is
She's like,
this?"
girl, I'm in the #1 movie in America. Like, calm
Please leave me
down.
alone. New
Yeah,
number.
yeah. I'm like tagging her and DMing her. She's like, stop.
I want to take it back to what we were saying really
Okay.
quickly, because I think Jasmine
Uh-huh.
is a really good example of a character that so many people got to see themselves reflected in. And I, first of all, love that show.
Thank
I love
you.
it on my block. But she always had a special place in my heart because I could imagine, listen, I've never written a TV show. I don't know. But I could imagine that it could have been, had the potential to be a very one-dimensional
Yeah.
character. And you brought a fullness to her that I thought was so important. And so with somebody like Jasmine, that could have just been like the token funny, like spicy Latina,
Yeah.
to give her this full breadth of emotion humanized her in a way where I was like, this is the importance of storytelling.
Mm.
I was really grateful for your approach. And I was wondering if there was a lesson or something that you took away from that character that you got to keep from Jasmine.
Jasmine is so much of who I am. I grew up, like I said before, like the class clown. I wanted to tell you the joke before I was the joke. And that was how I knew Jasmine was. She's this brazen, I told Lauren from jump, like, she's so sexual, girl, that's a virgin. That is a
Yeah.
virgin. We actually had a shot, God, is it season 2 or season 3 when when we went to Brentwood playing Have You Ever? And
Mhm.
there was like a virgin question or like a sex question. And I told Lauren, I was like, I'm not gonna take the shot. And she was like, oh, okay. Like it hit her. She was like, I don't think like this is a game, a wall that she puts up. Like this isn't real. People that have sex like this don't talk like this. This is like, she is a child that is putting on a show for you so she can find importance in herself and a purpose. I knew that from jump because that was me. Not necessarily how sexually brazen she was, but I'll put on a good show for you so you don't make fun of like my unibrow or my my teeth or my weight or anything or like I will do anything
Yeah.
to you know. So when we got season 2, I will never forget the producers called me to tell me we got a season 2. And me being like, I don't know where I got these cojones, but I was like, oh, does that mean I get to be a series regular? And they were like, oh,
Yes.
well, we would love to talk about that. Like, you were like, we're just calling to congratulate you.
I love
And
it.
I was like, a closed mouth doesn't get fed.
Facts.
So when season 2 came around and that happened, and I was so like beyond grateful, getting the scripts, I was like telling them, putting on this character for full scenes is not like that's not going to be her. It's not going to be like that. And they were very much on board. Whether or not they thought about that for her ahead of time, I'm not sure. But that scene they wrote for me and my father, I think
Mm.
changed the trajectory of Jasmine for everybody. But this is so many people's lives. But the Latino way is we're going to laugh about it. We're going to laugh and we're going to keep pushing. And you don't see the tears at night and all of that. So it needed to be in there for me to justify all the Jasmines out there. You know what I mean?
I love the way that you put that.
But to go back to what you were saying, I think that On My Block was such a different show because we were fully cast with 6 characters that would have been side characters in everyone else's show. This would have been their best friend, their enemy, whatever. That's who they were. And you were able to see these kids and see their story. And that's what I think the world wanted. And I think that's why we did so well.
Can I just tell you, I included in the sentence, but fans, we were upset when we found out there was not a season 5
5.
coming.
Yeah.
And I think a lot
Me
of people,
too.
girl, I was like, that's what?
my,
No.
my business manager was also very upset to hear that.
I was like, fuck, man, I wanted another season.
Yeah.
I was so,
Who
I was
killed
so,
Spooky?
we killed Spooky.
Who did it?
But we were upset, and I think that when you do think four seasons, you
Yeah.
think this shit's a success. But I also don't think that we then connect the dots of the reality of what it is to get a show made
Mm-hmm.
and to be a working actor.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I off camera talked for a second about this giant disconnect that I think a lot of us have on what it actually means to be a working actor and waiting for that next job. And you touched on it for a second,
Yeah.
but what's that experience been like for you?
Oh, I mean, the struggle is real. I waited tables for the first 3 seasons of Liv and Maddie.
So you're on Disney
Yeah,
and you're
I
also
was
waiting
on
tables.
Disney waiting tables. Yeah, in Studio City. Damn
Wow.
right.
Are people coming up
They
to
might not,
you?
yeah, all the time. Oh my God, I would have like people be so rude to me, and then their kids would recognize me, and then all of a sudden, like, just a switch of like all of a sudden, like I had some kind of importance. But no, it was very humbling. A job is a job. If I have to go back to it tomorrow, I will. I was a damn good waitress, you know. But yeah, the struggle is real. I remember when I told everyone on Liv and Maddie that I was quitting my job, like my service job, and one of the writers was like, "What are you doing that for? What if you don't book something after this?" And I was like, "Well, I plan on it." But then even I think I went 6, 7 months without a job, maybe a year. And then On My Block came about. But again, I got On My Block because my girl Victoria Morales, who's like my bestie, was like, "Girl, I got this pilot. It's not me. This is you." And then she gave me Jasmine, and then I hit up my people because they were like, "We didn't submit you because she's supposed to be 14 and you're 30."
You said, I can do it.
I was like, "I can be her mother, but that's fine."
I love that that's how you found out about the role.
Yeah. And that's how a few of them have come to me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you ever get caught up in hyperfixating on the outcome of something or the result of something? Just checking. I'm like,
About this right now, about getting home, like about everything. I'm working on it in therapy, but I catastrophize everything. And I
mm,
feel like I don't know if that's like a defense mechanism that I'm like, if I can already see the worst in like in any outcome, then I'll prepare for it. You know, it's a trauma response.
but I think that's generational trauma too, girl.
Girl, yeah. I wish I could think more creatively in life as an artist, but I feel like that logistical side of me is like, no, but you got to make sure your kid's taken care of. You need to make
Yeah.
sure. So a lot of things is like business. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how do I ensure that next job so that I can take a breath
Mm-hmm.
and not worry? Because like my husband's a set dresser. My mom lives with us. She's retired. Like, I've got a lot of people to make
Yeah.
sure are good.
Yeah.
So I think about that probably, first. Do I have imposter syndrome? All the time. But I do have moments that I know that I'm supposed to be here and I know that this is what I was meant to do and I
Mm.
know that I'm damn good at it. So it depends which day you catch me.
Mm.
That I'm telling, like, is this boss Jess or is this like, I don't know if I can do this today,
Yeah.
because they are both important and they both exist. It's just we've been in a horrible circumstance. We went from a pandemic to a strike to fires to, it's like one thing after another. It feels like Hollywood just needs to breathe. California needs to breathe. And then hopefully we'll start getting back to great work and some great art because I know how cathartic that is. I'll tell you
I
that.
cannot wait because you write
I do.
and you're
I just
producing,
finished my
direct.
pilot too. Yeah. Thank
Congratulations.
you. I don't know if I can say anything about
Fair.
it, but it's so fun, and you're gonna see me in a way that you haven't before. But yeah, it's about I want to be like Anissa Rae. I want to be
Girl.
writing, producing, directing, starring. I want to do it all. I love it all. So I'm excited to see where this goes. But yeah, I did. I finished it.
Oh my God, congratulations. I
Thank
just have
you. Thank
chills. I
you.
can't wait to support and watch
Yes,
it. And
please. We'll come back and we'll talk about it when it
girl,
happens.
please,
Yeah.
anytime. I'm just so excited for our generation and the generation that comes because the stuff that we're seeing finally come out of Hollywood is just so meaty and so good. And like I was saying before, is finally starting to paint Latinos in this full light.
Yeah.
And that is how you humanize people. And
Hmm.
that is how you have more empathy for people. And again, like right now, we are literally seeing what happens
Yeah.
when you are completely disconnected and dehumanized
Yep.
from another group of people that are other. They're not me. And we even see it. I mean, you're half Cuban. You grew up in Orlando. I grew up in Miami. That's been a wild conversation to have with people at home in Miami of like, you're an immigrant. And if there wasn't a law in place that allowed you not even to seek asylum, but to get citizenship like that,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be here.
And they're talking about taking that away. That was the first thing we took out of the fires. It was like, Mom, you need your nationalization papers like right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not playing with this.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how Orlando was, but Miami it's such an oasis for Cubans.
Yeah.
And I grew up, I mean, unbelievably privileged in the sense that like I was never told you can't do something because you're Latina because I grew up around Cubans, I grew up around Latinos, and
Uh-huh.
there's so many successful, incredible Latino stories in Miami
Yeah.
that I was just like, oh, this is normal. And then it was when I left Miami for college and to work that I was like, oh, this is super not normal.
Being from Orlando, you're around a lot more Puerto Ricans,
Yeah.
at least
Yeah.
when I was there. So I felt home with that. But being Mexican was not as popular. So I dealt with microaggressions from Latinos for being Mexican and didn't know that they were that until I was older, looking back. Like, I
Mm.
mean, my mom had a friend who I will never forget this. I was holding hands with my mom and she was like, "Oh, you got yourself a little." Those are things that I grew up with that I didn't realize. My first boyfriend was white, and his mom used to call me at all hours of the night and be like, I can't believe my son's dating a like all this stuff. Yeah. So I dealt with things growing up in not I still was very privileged. But I was reminded that I was other and not as good as um other people lighter than me.
I wonder though what that was like for you when you came here to discover your Mexican side. Because
Yeah.
very different cultures.
Yeah.
Best fucking food on both sides. Let me just say.
Oh, but I mean, Cuban food is amazing to me. You just gotta spice it up a little bit.
We need to fix the Cuban food in LA, but that's another
Oh,
conversation.
because why is it dry? That's the last thing Cuban food should ever
First of all,
be,
why does
is
it taste like
dry.
ass? Like it's
Can't talk
just
about it.
bad. We're gonna start our own restaurant.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
fine.
Starts
Anyway,
with the mojo, and if you don't can't you suck at that, then you can't talk about it. Yeah.
I'm just so grateful you're here right now. Just so grateful. I'm like, she knows. She knows.
No, it was so welcoming and eye-opening, and, again, being surrounded by the Hollywood Latinos. Like, I got to go to Mexico City last year for the first time and really, like, see part of me that I didn't even know. Like, one example is we went to the Museum of Anthropology, which is the dopest museum you can ever go to. Like, I'll throw a statistic. I don't think it's real, but it's supposed to be, like, the 3rd biggest, like, museum in the world.
Wow.
Don't Google me.
Okay.
Anyway, they were talking to us about how important hummingbirds and black obsidian is to Mayan culture. And I
Mm.
was walking around with a hummingbird and black obsidian for so much of my life. And I had no idea that that was so symbolic to my ancestors. Like, I didn't grow up with it. So the fact that I was just drawn
You were
to
just
it,
called to it.
yeah. And that just thought that was so dope. Like, I felt like a puzzle piece was missing to me. And that's why I love LA so much.
I love that you say that you feel really welcomed in the community here
Mhm.
because it is a weird thing when we're like pitted, or not even pitted against, we're just like against one another
Oh
depending
yeah,
on our
no,
culture and
they have a class system, you know? Like these are the Latino countries that are up here and these are the ones that are down here. And it's so disgusting, especially the colorism that our community goes through is so so disgusting. I try and be the change as much as I can, but then it's like something happens and somebody says something and it just knocks us back. And Julissa and I, Calderon,
Mhm.
we were on a
She's
show
awesome.
called Go Off together, and we pitched this sketch of her and I going out for the same audition for a Latina. And her Spanish is perfect, mine is non existent. And her going, oh, she's probably going to get it because she looks like the Latino one. And I'm like, she's going to get it because her Spanish is perfect. And then some white girl gets it.
Get out. No.
I think it was like, I don't even know. It was like poor, it was like some white actress. But it's so real. And that's the kind of like, I think it's more digestible to do it through comedy, but it's real.
It's real.
Yeah.
And like I also understand like that's on also the ones that look like me, like we have to continue doing our part of it of making sure that you're always holding the door
Yeah,
open.
people just don't want to take any type of accountability because they just feel like it's like, oh my God, you did something specifically. And it's just like, if you don't recognize that, you probably have. There's no going forward with any type of unity with our people, which, if that were the case, if that were to happen, we would be unstoppable.
Let's get into the Spanish of it all.
Irregardless. Yeah.
Do you
Don't
have a
ask
moment?
me anything in Spanish.
I'm just
I
we're
will
gonna
walk
switch.
out right
We're fully
now.
gonna switch to only
Oh
Spanish.
my God.
It is really a thing to have a lot of shame around that. I remember like growing up and there's such a hierarchy within the language itself, right? Of
Yeah.
like your accent and where it comes from. And
Yeah.
listen, my parents were born in Cuba. My mom's family, they went to Puerto Rico after. My dad's family went to Ecuador after. Two very different
Yeah.
cultures. I remember being in school with a lot of kids that were South American, and it was just like the never ending. Like, not only is your Spanish trash, but either way, like me
You
defiendo,
do not
okay?
have to apologize or
Thank you.
clear
I know I'm
yourself
like
up
not
for
getting
me.
nervous about even what we're
No.
talking about. But I just remember like being so embarrassed because A, not only was it not perfect, but B, they were like, your accent is trash. Like you sound so fucking Cuban. Your accent is
First of all, the
trash.
Cuban accent is amazing.
Thank you so much. And it really was like where Caribbean Latinos, like it's like the Dominicans, the Puerto Ricans, and the
Yep.
Cubans, our Spanish was deemed trash.
Yeah. First of all, there's nothing more Latino than shitting on other Latinos.
Right.
That is our number.
Correct.
That's the thing we are best at.
And
We're
sometimes,
trained as little kids.
yes.
Like, okay, so I grew up in the Southeast, right? So I grew up in Orlando. I'm not used to like the New York, Jersey, like I'm gonna shit on you for like looking at me. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not used to in a loving way.
Yes.
Like I'm not used to that.
Yes.
I'm used to compliments. I'm used to hugs,
Yes.
like
Yes.
affirmation.
Yes.
No, 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 no. I went on my block and I got Brett from Philly and Jason from New Jersey who's talking all this shit and making fun of my Spanish. And Julio was like, she's never gonna learn Spanish if you talk to her like that. He's like, but it's horrible. Like, what is this? Like, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh my God, this is the jabs that I didn't grow up with having a sibling, you know? So it was just a
Yes.
completely different, and I got that, like, oh God, I'm not gonna learn Spanish here. I'm not gonna do it. Like Julio really wanted to teach me Spanish on set. And I was like, nope, I'm
'Cause you
never
just get
speaking it
embarrassed and
again.
you shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I got it at home too. Like my mom was like, what was that? How did you say that? This is what I've realized. Whenever I learn like a sentence or like, because my thing is like I can speak it all. Conjugating is where I mess up. So
Fine.
like I would probably talk to you in like adjectives and nouns and verbs, but there would be nothing, you know, connecting them. I would
But
talk to you
we
like a
but
caveman,
we get there.
basically.
But we
Basically.
get there. We have to talk about the Spanglish for like a hot second
Okay.
because Leo Gonzalez,
That's my boy.
I saw him at one of your posada parties,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
I want to talk about. But anyway,
You
his
got to come to the next
skits,
one.
I am there. Thank you so much. His skits are so fucking funny. It sounds so ridiculous, but it's genuinely how we talk.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, sometimes it's overdone, but like,
Yeah.
no,
Like
his
I will,
skits
yeah,
were
yeah, yeah. I will
killing
throw
me.
them in there just to show you, like I got some flavor. I'm
Just to
like,
prove.
yeah, just to prove.
Yeah.
Like that's my code switching. I'm like, please, I'm one of you. I swear. Did you hear that battle before my friend then? So good. Wes,
Pero
I gotta
like, o sea, just throw in like an o sea and they'll know exactly.
go. 100%. I
You'll be
will.
fine.
I'll do it all day
You'll
long.
be so fine. Oh my God,
But
that
there
is
is
so fucking
nothing
funny.
worse than when like a fan comes to me and they only speak Spanish and I start like doing as well
Yeah.
and their face just goes, oh no,
I know.
you're one of them. And I'm like, sorry, lo siento.
Lo
But at the
siento.
same time, like when it comes to people dragging you for that,
Yeah.
I just don't participate.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for saying that because it's
Yeah.
really important, I think, for us to for real though, because there are so many of us that do grow up here
Yeah.
and we're like, you know, the 200%ers, the marketed term.
Yeah.
But it's true. And then you feel so you can't win. You can't win.
Exactly. So I don't play. You
Make your own
won.
rules.
You are
Congratulations.
more Latino than me.
How do you approach it with your daughter?
I speak to her in Spanish and I'm trying to use Mirabel as like our big thing of like,
Okay.
Mirabel speaks Spanish. You need to speak Spanish.
Okay.
Do you want me to call Stephanie Beatrice? She'll talk to you in Spanish right now.
I love that.
My mom speaks to her in a lot of Spanish because
Okay, cool.
we're kind of like learning together at this point. But her favorite thing is just "Mommy, ven acá," and she'll just scream that to me as often as
Stop. I
possible.
love that.
Yeah, but
Oh.
she's like little Curly Sue. Like it's gonna be so. I want her to stand in her Latino-ness so much because she's like they're gonna think she's like the little white girl at school because she's got my husband's last name. Like I was like I had to give her Selena because I had to give her like a little bit of spice. I was telling Sierra I was thinking like Sadie or something that goes with her last name. And Sierra was like, you know she's gonna come out white if you don't give her some flavor as a first name. I was like, and you're right. And you're
Beautiful
right.
name.
Oh, I love
Powerful
Selena.
name.
Yeah, I do.
Girl, why do you think I hit people with Gabriela Ulloa? Because I'm like, no. Because I go by Gabby most of the time, but I'm like,
Yeah.
they need to know.
Yeah, and they need to
They
know.
need to know. And I'm proud of it.
As
I'm
you
damn
should be.
fucking proud of it.
As you should be.
Yeah, girl. I just want to tell you, when I think about the trajectory of your career, when I hear now getting to finally meet you and like hear your story, there's a word that really just like comes to my brain and it's steady. And to me, steadiness equates longevity and sustainability.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that?
And I just feel like you stand so firm in your knowing of who you are and what your purpose is and why you're here. And oftentimes I think about people that have like similar dreams. And I really do think that one of the major things that sets people apart is who's willing to be more steady in their patience.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a moment where you felt like your knowing was really tested?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Mm,
All the time. I just went out for a CBS show
okay.
and I was like, oh, this is me. Oh my God, I haven't felt this good about a character in so long. Like this is gonna be for me. It's been a week. They haven't called me. It's not gonna happen. But like, I'm like, maybe I've like, I'm a one-trick pony and this is all I can do. And people don't see me as anything else, you know? You always have those doubts. I'm human. But I always say that my mom helped instill in me like a sense of confidence, like an unshakable confidence that even when like I'm on the floor crying, like I'm not, this it's never gonna happen for me. Like I'm not worthy of this. Like there's an inside voice that's like, girl, yes you are. Yes, you are. You know you're gonna do it. You've already made it this far. Like there's no reason I'm sitting here with you other than I bet on myself. Like, honestly, because I had no connections in this industry. I was just a chick from Orlando, a little gordita that like wanted to be, a star. And I was like, no one's gonna tell me that I can't. So that's literally why I'm here.
Mm. When I interviewed Lauren Haregi, we were talking a lot about how
Does she sit here?
redirection, it was a different chair,
Ah, damn.
but she's a force.
Yeah,
She's a force. And we were talking about how redirection is often protection. And
yeah,
listen, we're gonna get the no's. They're
yeah.
super inevitable. Is there a moment of redirection or a no that you are super grateful for?
Probably all of them. What's for you is for you. We talked about that. And what's for you isn't going to miss you. There was one job specifically that was going to shoot before on my block.
Mm-hmm.
And if I had gotten that job, I wouldn't have gotten on my block. I wouldn't have been able to go out for it.
Mm.
So that's a pretty big one. But I think
Mm.
there's also the opposite of that where I'm just like, God, I wish this worked out. Like I was supposed to do more episodes of How to Get Away with
I
Murder.
was gonna say,
And that didn't work out because Netflix was like, no, we need her. And I was like, no, but also thank you.
like,
You
I'm
need to be
important now.
needed.
Yes.
Yeah. But no, that was really exciting. So I think that every no I've gotten is for a reason.
Mm.
I have to think about it that way, or else I'll just
No,
melt.
but it really is that all that redirection
Yeah.
was for a greater purpose in some way, shape, or form. At least that's what I tell myself.
No,
Who knows?
but
King side, but
even if,
I love to ask people this question because I think as Latinos, we have hilarious superstitions.
oh yeah, okay.
When you were really like digging into your Mexican culture,
Uh-huh.
was there a new type of superstition that you discovered that you didn't grow up with?
Ooh, a new one? But a superstition. I don't know. We have so many as Cubans
Yeah, tell
that I
me, what's
feel
your
like also
favorite?
like my purse cannot touch the ground. But I will also go up to strangers like on the street and in the restaurants. I'm like, ma'am, your purse is on the floor. Oh, it's supposed to be. No, it's not.
Well, you
No,
called
it's
out
not.
somebody about that.
Did I?
You did
Who did I call out?
on Twitter.
Did I? J Lo. Was it
Yes,
J
you
Lo?
did.
She should know better.
Yeah.
She should know better.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, that purse was more than my house. Like, pick that shit up.
Tell the people though.
Before I do.
Yes.
But like the asabachi is a real deal for me. And I will tell you one instance
Okay.
where it has come into play.
Tell me.
I was 3 months pregnant
Mm-hmm.
and I was in Amsterdam.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been to Europe, right?
Mm-hmm.
With their tiny ass little stairs that were made for like little European people.
Yes.
Anyway, so this is what happens. I had to go down. They were they were keeping us. My cousin had us on the top floor, and I
Oh
would walk down
God.
to go to the bathroom every 15 minutes because you're pregnant, right?
Right.
And one time I slipped
I
and
know.
almost completely fell down the stairs.
Okay.
And then when I came back to bed, my asabachi was in the bed, and I was uh, like, who the hell's coming after me? And that shit is so real. I can't tell you how often it'll break. It'll break. I've got a new one. It'll
Yeah.
break. I've got a new one. And I almost can tell you exactly who I was with and the moment that I felt like that should happen.
And you know, trust it.
Oh, yeah, no. There's a bruja in here that has saved me from so much. I cannot even tell you.
We all have
Like,
it.
and if you don't listen to that, whoo,
Yeah.
saved my life.
Well, we're taught not to.
Yeah.
Has your daughter had any like cool moments where
I
you
keep trying to ask her about her past lives because she's so verbal.
like please?
She's so verbal that I'm like,
Yeah.
so tell me. Like, I'm like, I go, have you been here before? Like, did you have a life? She's like, yeah. I'm like, what were you? And she was like, Moana. I'm like, oh yeah, Clem. All right, cool. Like,
Yeah.
you never know what to believe. Like her mind is so incredible.
Oh my gosh. Ugh. Okay. One of the reasons I really wanted to start this was because our families did so much to get us to where we are. And that is so much to be celebrated. And we're part of their legacy. And we're creating our own legacy. And like you said earlier, you're walking so your daughter can run.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering, Miss Jess, if you can tell us what you hope that your legacy will be.
Oh, I hope it's that authenticity wins out.
Mm,
That I think it's weird to be like, I'm a good person, but like being a good person, you don't have to choose between being successful and being a good person. And I just hope that, at least for my daughter's sake, that I leave this place better than, you know, I got here. I don't know what the actual poetic saying is, but you get it. I just hope she's proud of me. I think my legacy really is just for her. She's the one that I care most about. I need her to like me. I do. I
Right.
really need that. So I just hope at least she's proud of me. And I think having her has really driven me to want to say, like, speak out more or be involved more,
Mm.
because especially during Trump's first, when he first became president, I was like, I don't want my daughter to be reading about this in school and being like, Mom, what did you do during that time? And I was like, well, honey, there was a tweet that I retweeted, and that meant something to someone. Like, I just know that I have a platform and I'm very cautious of it. I do like feel like I owe it to people to use my platform, but use it correctly. I hope that's also my legacy, that I spoke out.
And
I don't know,
you're
girl.
making,
I'm trying. My legacy is that I'm trying.
but you are being brave enough to actually try. And a lot of people, for a whole lot of reasons, are not. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that it's like necessarily like that's a whole other
It's scary,
conversation.
but also, to be honest with you,
It can be
just
really
because
scary.
people are on TV does not mean you should listen to a goddamn thing they say.
Yes.
That's why we are where we are. Like, I didn't go to college. Don't listen to me about a goddamn thing, but question everything. Like, that's also a legacy that I want to give to my daughter, is like, please don't just listen to what I say, what anybody says. Like, research things for yourself, because everyone's just figuring it out, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm. And you're even teaching her that in the small ways of telling her, like, you don't have to like physically
Yeah.
encourage people because you're teaching her to trust her gut.
Oh, yeah. She wasn't starting preschool until she could tell me every part of her body and tell me, nope, this is my body. You don't touch me. Like, I will go to jail. I will gladly go to jail. On
Oh,
that
she's
note,
got a good mom. She's got a damn good mom, let me tell you right now.
good to her being 15. I hate
Yeah,
you.
well, she's an Aquarius. It's gonna happen. Sorry
I
to tell you. My sister's an
know.
Aquarius. It's inevitable. Love you.
Oh,
They're
God.
scary. Oh, thank you so much for doing this
No,
today.
thank you. This was so much
I'm
fun.
so grateful for you. Thank you for being here for real.
Me
You're dope. And
too.
you really are like you're leaving a really cool impact on this place.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. That, like, literally warms my heart so much. And so are you. Like, thank you for, like, caring about our community enough to celebrate them in order, like, even talk to us. Like, I think that's great. Irregardless, though. Irregardless, though.
Thank you.
They're like, wrap up,
Yeah.
you chatterbugs.